Hi everyone, and here we are, Friday, May the 3rd, to look at the astrology of today. Having said that, I'm leaping ahead a little, looking at the astrology on the 6th, and talking about an aspect which is coming up, gaining importance briefly, just around these few days. And then is going to be hanging around right in the background through 2025. But this is a very, very early taste of it. This is your opening information on this aspect, which is going to, I think, be quite influential in a lot of people's lives. It's another opportunity for personal growth, let's put it like that, but it does contain some work that people don't want to do with regard to personal growth and working through struggle. Okay, so I'm just going to share and you will see what I'm looking at in a moment. There we go. So this is the chart for the 6th of May, and I'm going to come back to the 3rd, but I wanted to start here because it takes some time to get all this into the exact place. And it's when I click back to today, it's just easier for me to work it through. Anyway, ignoring all that, it is set for 22 minutes past 4 in the morning, and that's why all of the planets, which are in a huge bunch at the moment, are in the different place in the chart to you have seen in the last 2 days, because it's earlier. So these planets, which all move in this direction in the chart, so they rise and they set. So the sun is just coming up here to rise. Okay, now what I want you to look at is just here. This is going to be an important aspect, these two, Chiron and Eris, for a considerable amount of time to come. In fact, just looking at the way that the events around this work, we've got 5 events in all. We've got a close encounter in July of this year, and then we've got a first exact hit in May 2025, a second in October 2025, finally a third in March 2026, with a last close pass in 2027. Okay, that's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, well, I have to sort of explain to you that Eris is a very slow-moving planet. We're talking 560 years, something like that, for it to go around the sun. And Chiron itself also takes 50 odd years, so these are slow moving. The other thing that we have to consider here, and the thing that makes these guys so very important when they're doing this long run of conjunctions to each other, is the sensitivity and the hidden anguish and the very real feelings that both of these can bring up. Putting them together in this way, it's not happened, for a long, long while. Let's look at it like that. I can give you that information later. But it is going to be an aspect which brings a great opportunity for gain, but it's not without its pain. Let's put it like that. Particularly in the sign of Aries, because Aries is very sensitive to anything that makes it feel less strong. So the essence of this aspect, these two together, is that you feel as if you aren't strong, as if your strength has been removed, as if you're just a grain of sand on the whole beach and nothing more. It removes a feeling of power, potency, specialness. And so it leaves us with a sense of depletion or a lacking of resources or a hopelessness. Now, this is going to be a lot more obvious next year when the first real hit happens in March. However, when any other planets or the moon get into this area here, so 20 to 25 degrees of Aries, they will now start to bring up the issues that will be those issues which this aspect will describe in your life over the next year or two. So you'll get a faint rumbling of them on the horizon. Now, this is, I want you to think about this in times of being a thunderstorm that is coming to clear the air, to get things out into the open, to improve them in the long term. But it's going to have to be a thunderstorm before we get to the improvement. And I want you to think about how you can hear that on the horizon and that distant rumbling. And sometimes you're not going to get the storm this time, the distant rumbling, and then you don't get it. So this is kind of how it's going to be. We're getting a very early taste, but not the actual storm. Now, we're getting this early taste because of the involvement of these other planets, and I'm going to show you those now. So I'm going to just share again. Right, so Mercury is a very fast planet, closest to the sun, less than a year to go around the sun, and the moon goes around the whole of this chart, because it goes around the Earth, not the sun. It goes around the whole of this chart in a month. That's fast. So the fact that we've got the moon, which will be at 20 and then up to 25 in the same day, that will move very quickly through these. Mercury is now at 20, will be on this day 20 degrees, Chiron 20 degrees. And the next day, Mercury will be at 21. And then within 3 or 4 days, Mercury will be at 25. So that's going to make a very speedy connection between Chiron and Eris, because at some point it will be exactly in the middle. And so will the moon. When the moon or Mercury get to the midpoint between Chiron and Eris, then they make a connection, right? It's like being a lightning rod. They stand in the middle, so whichever one it is, Mercury stands in the middle and extends out to both of those planets, and it sets off a connection or sets off the coming conjunction and the meanings of that in your life. Okay, so another thing, think about a baby born. Let's say a baby is born at this moment. So the moon is at 19 or 20, Mercury is at 20, Chiron's at 20, all of Aries, and Eris at 25, and that's within 5 degrees. That's reasonably close conjunction. Those 4 planets together in a baby's chart would be telling quite a story. So that's just really to give you an impression of what to watch for. There is something to watch for in the next few days. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing again. So I'll take it back to today in a moment. But in the meantime, what I want to do is just talk to you about this aspect and give you a kind of an early glimmer of what to expect. Now, Chiron, as you will know if you study astrology, is a planet that we call the wounded healer. Chiron is a healer, was a healer, however, has wounds of his own which he can't heal. Chiron is the leader of a whole group of individuals which live in an ancient forest on the outside of Olympus. They are wild animals, if you like, but they're half horse, half man. They're centaurs. And Chiron is the head of the centaurs. So they have the wisdom and the animal instincts, and they also have the human communication and conceptual and thinking powers. But they aren't included by the humans, they're outcasts. So with Chiron, you have this individual who is an outcast and made to feel very, very excluded. And also, yes, he was a great healer, but he couldn't heal his own wound. So we've got the anguish and the vulnerability that exists in this god or this energy or this planet in astrology. And it's a point of anguish, it's a point of humility, it's a point of vulnerability in astrology. And these are features that all human beings have as an archetype when they feel inadequate or not up to something or wounded by something. So it's a Chiron energy, a Chiron moment. And then if we put that together with Eris, and Eris is in myth was a goddess who was left out of a big wedding that was happening on Olympus. She wasn't invited, and so she became very bitter and filled with hatred and dislike for the human race and for loads of other things. And so Eris is an energy which now gives us discord and causes trouble. It does have an antidote. We can overcome Eris problems, but it's a very powerful energy. So put that together with Chiron, and we've got a really hard horse to ride in the rodeo at this point. And I will talk some more about it, and I will give you antidotes and stuff and this kind of thing, because there is a way to always get the silver lining out of the cloud. So every cloud has a silver lining. There is always gain if there is pain, and we can always, we are here on this journey to have moments of struggle where we learn an enormous amount, get a whole pile of truth and wisdom, and that prepares us and homes us for being a much wiser soul. We then are privy to the universal truth, and that is struggle gives us a wisdom and a knowledge and a gnosis that can't be gained in any other way, and we become much more at peace and much happier souls as a result of these moments where we have stress and struggle and difficulties. I love Khalil Gibran has a great saying here, and I'm going to read it to you. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. And I think that's an absolutely fantastic saying, and it is a universal truth, and it is about the journey to wisdom. And to hasten our arrival at wisdom, pain has to have at least as much impact as pleasure. And Chiron knows all about the pain. And that journey gives us a lot of incredibly good stuff. So it's something that we should look forward to with a, right, okay, I can do this. I just have to be at peace. And I have to be in an atmosphere of preparedness, ready for the journey. And it's not that bad then. Okay, so I'm just going to just move this back. I'll just have to stay with me a moment while I just go back to today. And then I'm going to share the screen with you again. There it is. There we go. So we're now on the 3rd, which is today. And so we've got the moon still in Pisces. Here it is at 5 degrees of Pisces. And we've got Chiron at 20, Eris at 25, and Mercury only at 18. So I wanted you to be aware of this before Mercury got to 20, which happens on the 6th. That's why I've talked about it now, because I find these things, as they approach, it's like has a huge bow wave of like energy which it brings before it. And so I thought, if I can catch you before this comes in, the way to deal with it is quiet confidence. It is quiet confidence, and it is maintaining a position or a knowledge of your own strength, but not using that strength to attempt to fight the cosmos or the will of the universe. It is a time of contemplation and learning, and your greatest strength is going to be your ability to be at peace and in a position of learning and awakening during this time. And I want you to remember something else. Nothing can be healed that isn't first felt. You have got to feel the things coming up in order to heal them. And that's what this is all about. It's this opportunity for feeling, contemplation, healing, resolution, and then laying to bed, laying to rest. Anyway, we will talk. Well, obviously, this is going on for 2 years, so we'll talk some more about it. But there you go. I wanted you to be aware of it. Okay, so anything else for today? Well, we are most certainly in an unusual time, in as much as feminine dominates, because moon is in Pisces, sun is in Taurus. Yes, we've got tons of stuff in Eris, and that is rumbling on the horizon. And that's what I wanted you to know, that whilst we seem to be in a period of slack water or calm, there is things coming. So just enjoy your slack water. If you look at this is called a grid, and it puts all the planets in relationship to each other. So for instance, I've got here Uranus, and this tells me that at the moment Jupiter is having a conjunction with Uranus. You see, that tells me there. And then if I go to the actual chart, there it is, that tells me that there. Very rarely do I look at a chart and see so many blank spaces. And also very rarely do I see not just blank spaces, but also loads of trines, which means 120 degrees apart, which is a harmonious aspect, facilitating harmonious aspect, and very few squares. The red squares are the irritants, as you remember from 2 days ago when I was talking about squares, one there, one there, one there. And we've got to forget this is because of those lines are the nodes, and I'll talk about those another time, but we've got very few squares in the chart. So yes, it is a feminine time of contemplation, and this is a time to be preparing, a time of internal philosophy, if you like. So just be gentle with yourself today, and just be at peace with things. If I just move this on now in hours, I will get these planets up to a time that you're when you're used to looking them, because I show this chart every day. You're used to seeing them up here, so that moves them up there for you. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I'm sorry I went on so long again. I keep trying to make these short. It doesn't work, does it really? But I do hope, if I probably won't get a chance to do it over the weekend. I have to take the weekend off for family commitments, but I'm going to be doing these Monday to Friday. So I do hope you will join me. And please now, if you could start to share and talk about it, so I can start to grow the numbers, that would be brilliant. Really, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I hope I'll speak to you all soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.